What's up, guys? D-Rock 1992 here. For this next video and for my next movie review, I'm going to be reviewing the sequel to 1995's Batman Forever, which is 1997's Batman and Robin. So this will be what that video is about. Same director that came back for Batman and Robin, Joel Schumacher, who directed Batman Forever. But we get a different Batman. And this Batman is George Clooney. Big superstar actor now. You know, big-time superstar actor. A-list talent. Then you get some other people. You get Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. Chris O'Donnell returns as Robin. He played Robin in Batman Forever. Uma Thurman comes in as Poison Ivy. And Alicia Silverstone plays Batgirl. And those are the 5 major characters that I'm going to be talking about. A small role, Drew Barrymore plays one of Mr. Freeze's henchwomen. So, a small role, definitely. But, this plot, like the other Batman films, is kind of simple. You know, Batman and Robin have to team up, along with help from Batgirl, to stop Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy from wreaking havoc on Gotham City. Mr. Freeze plans in this film to freeze Gotham City, and Poison Ivy is helping him. And so Batman and Robin and Batgirl have to save the day. So now the part that I'm going to enjoy the best is getting into the characters. And I'm going to talk about all 5 of these characters. And I'm going to start with... Who to start with, though, is interesting. You got to start with the most ridiculous character that's... Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze is a terrible fit. He's an awful Mr. Freeze. He just... Wow, But one of the big reasons why this film is Arnold Schwarzenegger makes a bad Mr. Freeze. He was a terrible fit as Mr. Freeze, but God, his puns are ridiculous. He has so many ice puns that are ridiculously awful. And I can't really do the impression, because I haven't practiced the impression in a while of Arnold, but, ice to meet you, and, ice to meet you, I can't remember a lot out off the top of my head, but those ice puns are so ridiculous. But they are hilariously bad. I mean, they just are, definitely. Chris O'Donnell as Robin, he is worse off. The character is worse off in this movie than he was in Batman Forever. Chris O'Donnell did a pretty good job in Batman Forever. He doesn't do the greatest job here in Batman and Robin. Alicia Silverstone plays Batgirl. She won a Razzie Award for Worst Actress for this movie, which I don't think she should have won. If anything, I think the award, should have went to someone else in this cast I'm going to talk about. But yeah, Alicia Silverstone, the only actress out of this cast that got nominated for a Razzie for this film. I didn't think she was terrible. She wasn't exactly Academy Award winning, type material for her role, but she did okay, She wasn't horrible. She wasn't great either, but she wasn't horrible. And then the one that probably is... Arnold was a terrible fit as Mr. Freeze, but George Clooney was a horrible fit as Batman and Bruce Wayne. When you're a horrible fit as Bruce Wayne, that says something. Because that character, Bruce Wayne's an easier character to pull off, for me personally, than Batman would. I don't know. I mean, but anyway, George Clooney was just a terrible fit as Batman / Bruce Wayne. He just, wow. And he didn't have the ice puns to save him. He didn't have those ice puns. I mean, wow. George Clooney's an A-list actor. He didn't show his A-list stuff in this movie. He did not at all. So, an interesting fact, I'll get into the, with George Clooney actually, kudos to him. He rebounded after Batman and Robin. This movie is, well, first of all, my general impression of this movie, it's a bad movie. It's a terrible movie. But I consider it so bad it's good. It is so bad it's good. I mean, it's one of those movies for me. And it's a movie I'll watch again, definitely. I'll watch again for the ice puns and, the ridiculousness that goes on. One thing that Batman and Robin did right was that they eliminated all the seriousness. A lot of this movie was, a lot of Batman and Robin was, serious, kooky, crazy, campy fun. A lot of it was that. And this movie knew exactly what it wanted to be, whereas Batman Forever, that movie didn't know what it wanted to be at times. It was fighting between seriousness and camp and all that. So, yeah, I mean, this movie, give it credit for something. It knew what it wanted to do, and it was a bad movie. I mean, it was a bad film. But I consider it so bad it's good. And I would definitely watch it again for the ridiculousness and just the fact the movie's terrible. So an interesting fact about the actors, the 5 actors that I highlighted. George Clooney, again, you have to give credit to George Clooney because this movie could have destroyed his career. It could have ruined him. But the year after Batman and Robin, he came out with a movie called Out of Sight, which was a critical hit, and it kind of got him back on track after Batman and Robin. And then he went on, he's went on to become an A-list star, been in several big budget movies, and he's been a big successful actor. So George Clooney made out okay. He made out the best out of all of them. Overall, George Clooney made out the best at Batman and Robin. Arnold Schwarzenegger never quite recovered from Batman and Robin. He had big hits in the 80s. The Terminator, Predator, Commando, True Lies, The Running Man, several big-time, Kindergarten Cop, Twins, big-time hits. Big A-list star. Arnold Schwarzenegger was a big A-list star. But it took a big hit when he played Mr. Freeze. And I think it didn't destroy his career, but his career has never been the same after Batman and Robin. I mean, he had Terminator 3, but that was not as good as the first 2 Terminators from what I've heard. And when he stopped being governor of California, he's had movies out and all that, but they haven't been the big critical hits the big critical and box office hits that his 80s and 90s action movies were. So Arnold never quite recovered his box office draw from Batman and Robin. Chris O'Donnell as Batman, that movie destroyed his career. It destroyed his movie career. Batman and Robin destroyed his movie career. But later on, Chris O'Donnell now Chris O'Donnell has a successful television career. He plays one of the characters on NCIS Los Angeles, and he's enjoying a successful run on that show. So that movie destroyed his movie career, but eventually he came up to have a very successful television career. So good for him. Uma Thurman, who I should add, Uma Thurman is the best part of the movie. I think she, as much the movie's terrible, but Uma Thurman is the best part of this movie because she, I wouldn't say perfectly embodies Poison Ivy, but she embodies Poison Ivy enough to where she's an intriguing watch and all that. She's over the top and kooky and all that sort of thing. And hot. Uma Thurman was pretty hot back in the day, I'd say. But Uma Thurman, before Batman and Robin, she hit it big with Pulp Fiction, which was, obviously a huge hit. After Batman and Robin, for a few years there, she wasn't that big of a star until Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill series. The Kill Bill movies, parts 1 and 2, which really brought her back into the limelight. She plays the bride in those movies. I reviewed both of those films, so you can definitely... Kill Bill is one film, so you can definitely check that out on my channel. You can check out the Pulp Fiction review as well. But, yeah, Quentin Tarantino saved her. He really brought her into the limelight in Pulp Fiction. Saved her butt in 2003 and 2004 when she starred in the Kill Bill movies, the 2 Kill Bill part movies. So yeah, she's been since then. It's probably been hit or miss for her. She was in a movie called My Super Ex-Girlfriend with Luke Wilson and Anna Faris, but other than that, not really anything in particular. So she hit it big a little bit, but since then she's kind of fallen under the radar for sure. For me personally, in my eyes. And then probably the one actress who has had the worst turn of it was Alicia Silverstone. Whereas George Clooney turned out great after Batman and Robin, Alicia Silverstone turned out bad after Batman and Robin. Now, she had Clueless in 1995, which catapulted her into stardom. But then it quickly went away with Batman and Robin, and winning a Razzie Award for Batgirl will do that for you. So, it just hasn't been Batman and Robin. You can kind of say it kind of killed Alicia Silverstone's career. She hasn't really been in I don't know if she's really been in a lot of TV and all that, but yeah, she would be the worst off from Batman and Robin and all that. So yeah, those are the 5 characters and how they turned out. The 5 actors and actresses. So, my review of the movie is going to be a 1 out of 5. So, needless to say, 1 means bad for me. This is a bad movie. But I will add the caveat, it is a bad movie. It is such a bad movie that it's a good movie, So it's one of probably one of the only bad movies that I'm going to watch ever again, I'm not going to go out of my way to watch Mordecai, which was absolute garbage. Absolutely garbage movie. And some others that I've reviewed low on the channel. I won't be checking those out again. But Batman and Robin, I'll probably be checking out again at some point because it's so bad it's good. But yeah, that is it for this video. Or rather, before I go, this did kill the Batman franchise as a whole. Now, we didn't get our next Batman live-action movie until 2005, when Batman Begins came out, which was the beginning of the Dark Knight trilogy and re-sparked the Batman film franchise. This movie, Batman Begins, really saved it. Now, another credit to Batman and Robin. If Batman and Robin never happened, we might never have gotten the Dark Knight trilogy. We may have never gotten the Dark Knight, which, is a great comic book film for sure. I'll say it, I'll review it at some point, but, I think it's great. I've watched it before. But we might never have gotten the Dark Knight trilogy had it not been for the ridiculously awful movie that Batman and Robin was. So, it's got that, plus it was a kooky movie, and it knew what it wanted to be. So, there you go. So now this is it for my review on Batman and Robin. D-Rock 1992, out.